Introduce yourself.
So my name is Jaqueta Thomas, and my husband would tell me to say Dr. Jaqueta Thomas. I am the co-founder of Pharaoh's Conclave, which is pioneering esports education. That's competitive video gaming. I'm also a researcher and a professor of computer science and software engineering.
So because you have such an expansive background in technology, what are you passionate about in the education field?
For me, I am a firm believer that education is the great equalizer. Education provides a space and an opportunity for you to gain the foundational knowledge and apply it in ways that can impact your community where you live right now and change the way even you engage and others engage with the world. So for us, when we came to competitive video gaming as an example, which is an industry, the wave hasn't even begun to form fully yet. Of course, we thought about the fact that children of color needed to understand that these careers that 5 years from now will have been created that don't exist right now were possible within that industry. So my background is in education and computer science specifically. My co-founder, who's my husband, his background is also in education. He comes from a line of educators. So of course, you know, our skill sets, our talents, our passion, put us in a position and in a space where it just made sense that we would focus on workforce development, skills capacity building, and capability building for careers within this space.
So from a technology standpoint and workforce development as a complement, what does that look like?
For us, it looks like it manifests itself in two different ways. We have two particular offerings, the first of which is called Level Up Academy. So we have an online learning platform that supports skills building, capacity building, and workforce development for esports careers. As a researcher, part of my research involves understanding the ways in which people build skills and capacity, and particularly how technology can be leveraged to promote deeper learning and learning that can be applied in many different contexts. And so Level Up Academy leverages the best of what I as a computer scientist and what we as the field of computer science and specifically learning sciences know about the ways in which people learn and the ways we can promote more effective learning. So it implements and integrates project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, gameful learning, all of the pedagogies or the ways of teaching or the ways of learning that we know are incredibly effective. But it doesn't just build skills and capabilities in isolation. It also connects learners to the esports industry. So as they are developing, for example, a storyboard for a game or a physical prototype or a software prototype, their artifacts are being they're getting feedback from industry professionals within whatever career pathway they've chosen. So they're at the same time building a portfolio, but they're also building their network, and they're also getting an opportunity to interact with and interface with professionals within the space. So it's really a holistic approach. It's about connecting the pipeline from K to 12. There's a beginning recognition already that the esports industry is suffering from a similar problem that the tech industry has more broadly, which it is twofold. One is around diversity and inclusion, this narrative that we can't find diverse people who are prepared. But the other one is about the pipeline itself. The handoffs need to be across the pipeline from K through 12 into undergrad, into the career space, need to be intentional and they need to be sustained. Gone are the days of what I call like the hit it and quit it interventions where you're doing an hour of code. Those things are great in terms of exposure, but if you're gonna shift somebody's mindset from, oh, Black people do tech to therefore I can do tech, then it has to be something that's a lot more intentional and it has to be something that's sustained. Part of what has driven that understanding of the sustainability, the sustained engagement, and the intentional handoffs has been the research that I've done with Black girls in gaming specifically. I've worked with the same set of Black girls for almost 7 years, teaching them how to design games for social change. So they understand how game design works, but they also understand what it takes to implement games. They've built mobile apps. They've designed comic books, and this is the same set of girls over all this time. So the skill set that they have built up allows them to walk into a game company or into a comic book company and understand the processes that are involved with creating those kinds of digital artifacts. And they can step into a space, they're all seniors in high school this year, they can step into a space and actually make some things happen. And I think that's what we have to be focused on. Exposure is great. Deep engagement, sustained engagement over many years to build that expertise up, and then kind of bringing it all together by providing opportunities to interface with professionals so you can see what the next logical step is.
Has there been any challenges or difficulties from a learning perspective, or is it a systematic perspective of why we haven't gotten the opportunities or why we haven't been in these rooms? Do you think it's because you're an educator?
I am.
So do you think it's a learning, or is it a systematic? What are the two?
I think
is it exposure from home. What are the dynamics?
I think there are a constellation of factors, but I think it's all undergirded by a system that was not designed for us to serve us and to serve our needs. Our country is rooted in a history that goes all the way back to before the Revolutionary War of white supremacy. And that's baked into our country's foundation. And so a lot of the institutions that come out of that are institutions that weren't designed for Black children, that weren't designed for Black girls, that weren't designed for Black people. We weren't even thought of in the construction and design of a lot of these institutions. And so when you understand that, then it's not surprising that these institutions aren't working for us, or that they're problematic for us, or that navigating those landscapes can be very challenging. I think, so there's a systemic piece. There is an access and exposure piece as well, but there's also a lack of an understanding of the position that we as Black people have played in technology. We didn't just show up to technology. We have been a part of the nascency of this field. We have been a part of not only the trajectories getting people to space and back in one piece. We've been a part of the creation of GPS, which everybody uses. We've been a part of the creation of the cellular phone, which clearly is so ubiquitous, it's just not, it's unreal. We have been a part of the creation of so many technologies, programming languages, going all the way back to ancient times. You know, thinking about technology even in that sense, iron working, the use of tools, fire, all of those things are creations of African Americans, and we've innovated and pushed the envelope on all of those things. And so when you understand that perspective, we've always been in this space. We have always been technologists and innovators. This is nothing new. This is in us. This is who we are. So it's really also about making young people aware of the history that has already come before us. I think that's really, really critical.
That's very critical. And so what do you see now happening in 2020? What's happening in Atlanta? What's happening in your world?
I'm really excited about what's happening right now. You know, last year, 2 years ago maybe, I remember saying to a friend of mine, it's a great time right now to be a Black woman. I think it's a great time to be Black, period, kind of in this space. What I'm starting to see come out of our community is an acknowledgement that if the future is going to be different, it's up to us to construct that future, because we can construct a future that serves us and that meets our needs. The current structures are serving the people who built them very, very well. So there's no motivation, no impetus for them to deconstruct a system that's working really well for them right now. But we have to construct our own spaces, our own opportunities, our own schools, our own programs, our own films, we have to tell our own story. We cannot rely on other people to tell our story, because our story is a story of triumph. Our story is a story of innovation. Our story is a story of victory. and we have to tell that story, and then we have to work together and come together to create spaces where that narrative can be amplified so that our children understand where they come from and who they come from.
So tell us, where we can find you, and what are you cooking up right now, and what you're excited about right now for yourself and what you guys are doing, you and your phenomenal husband, your organization, your schoolwork. Tell us across the board where we can find you and what you got going on.
Absolutely. So personally, I can be found on Twitter at Britannica, BRITANNAKA. The company Pharaoh's Conclave, we are building and putting supports in place that are going to make the connecting of the pipeline and the enactment of the pipeline a reality, and that's happening already. And 2020 is going to be an amazing year for Pharaoh's Conclave. So you can keep informed and up to date on how that's happening and coming together. We've launched our league this year, our Esports Youth League, which is the only K-12 esports league in the country, specifically designed for young people. You can follow us on Twitter at Pharaoh's Clave, PHARAOHSCLAVE. On Instagram and Twitch, we're Pharaoh's Conclave. And so you can also go to our website, www.pcxnow.com. On the academic front and the research front, I'm doing a lot of work in establishing a subfield called intersectional computing that really looks at the intersections that exist in intersections among race, gender, class, ableism, sexuality within the field of computing, and how we can truly achieve true diversity and inclusion and make CSB a place that is for everyone, because all of us are already computer scientists. If you wake up in the morning and you brush your teeth and put your clothes on and you cross the street without getting hit by a car, that's a computer. Your computer of your brain is making all of that happen. We're already all computer scientists, so CS needs to be for all. And I'm also doing a lot of really amazing work with the young girls that I talked about, as well as with Black women in computing as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for supporting us. We support you. However we can help you. It's been phenomenal.
Absolutely.
You want to just close out with?
Yes, I want to close out with by saying that this project and this initiative, really this movement that is burgeoning, that you're helping to accelerate, I think is needed. And thank you. Thank you for not just having the vision to do it, but to also put some action to that vision.
Thank you so much. Incredible. Man, you just amazing.